Bla bla Test. Bla bla Test. Hello, test, test. Hello, can you tell me if you can hear me? I just tested the stream on my own and I watched it and I could hear myself, so hopefully it's working now. Hello? Anybody there? Okay, good. Yeah, in that case, let me start from the beginning. Where was I? I was gonna make a Zonk mod battle over Germany style mission. So bomber interception in 190s. And I think it's gonna be a later war mission, so it's gonna feature escorts as well. Okay, so here we go again. Let me know if there are any issues with the sound and whatnot. I always forget which airfield that was. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have 12 190s taxi from their hard stance to takeoff, then assemble around the player who is going to be lead, and then take off in pairs. So we set 12 190s. I usually use a mix of 50% average and 50% veteran. So I set every second aircraft to veteran. And once that is done, I set the skins for all the aircraft. So plane 1 will use the same skin as everybody else, which is VP FW 190A JG1 no markings. And I usually apply skins by editing the mission file itself. So skin 0 means plane 1 will use the skin. And if I copy and paste that and change it to 1, 2, and 3, the first 4 aircraft are already going to use the skin. And now if I do that 2 more times and do it up to 11, all the 12 aircraft will use the same skin. Okay. I hope I saved. Let's check planes. Plane 1 has the skin, and everybody until 12 has the skin, so that has worked. Now I changed the waypoint type to takeoff, and then we go airdrome spawn points, which will automatically make everybody spawn at the hard stance, which can be seen here. So I put a delay, so if a player plays the mission, you have a little bit of time to get ready, start the recording and whatnot. Okay, so 2-minute delay, airdrome spawn. This will automatically make the AI spawn here, here, and so forth, and taxi this way. So they will go here, here, and then to this one. Now, because of reasons, I put a second waypoint exactly at the same position. And now I create a lane takeoff waypoint. So this means that the AI will assemble in a certain setup and then take off, in this case in pairs. So this is 2 lanes. It works, that's nice. So takeoff spacing is 35. That means they will leave 35 meters to the one in front of them. And spacing 25 means the lanes are 25 meters apart. So when I now add a proper takeoff waypoint, it will make number 1 drive here. Then number 3 is going to be 35 meters behind that. Number 5, 35 behind that, and so on. Yay, everybody can hear me. So this should be a nice pair setup. And number 1 starts rolling once everybody is assembled on the runway. So if I now line up the actual takeoff waypoint neatly, then the setup will align with the runway. Okay. Synchronization should be all. It doesn't matter if I said pairs or all in this case, because pairs means if I have 4 lanes, then they are still going to take off in pairs. If I set it to all, then they are going to take off with 4 at a time. And if you put like 6 lanes, 6 at a time, and yeah, I guess you get it. Okay, so this waypoint is normal takeoff. And the first waypoint after that is going to be norm fly, but sea level, because that's an absolute altitude. And when AI reaches one sea level waypoint, it doesn't adjust the altitude as if it was using ground level, because ground level obviously depends on the terrain. So that's why AI usually in the normal game changes altitude when it reaches waypoints, because we are using ground level and that changes all the time. So using sea level will make sure the leader doesn't suddenly change altitude when he reaches waypoints. I'm going to use constant power, 55%. That will ensure that the leader goes slowly so everybody else can catch up. Okay, do I need to put anything else? I usually put radio silence because I dislike the vanilla radio stuff a lot. Okay, anyway. Waypoint options. I might want to use follow type own waypoints. This makes AI follow their own waypoints until they are close to the lead, and then they will start to follow the lead instead of flying the pattern. But I'm not sure if I need to use this here, because they are fighters. It doesn't matter that much. I'm going to try with normal, where everybody who isn't number 1 will start to assemble on number 1 immediately. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to put turn rate at 15 degrees. This will ensure that the lead aircraft flies gentle turns, just so that everybody, because we're assembling a flight of 12, just to make sure that the formation flies smoothly and doesn't do unnecessary sharp turns during the assembly process. Okay. So 1000 meters, 55%. I'm going to put this to finger 4, even though I think 190 default formation is finger 4, but it's a good habit to just always set the formation you want. Is everything still running smoothly? Can you hear me? Is anybody there? Should I restart the background music? Anyway, so take off here, fly here, and then I'm going to add a patrol waypoint so that they fly a pattern after takeoff. So this is going to be patrol 1 time, so they do 1 pattern lap. I want square, and we don't want to be we want the pattern to be base. That means they don't fly to the middle of the pattern at first, but to an outside waypoint. And now if I put this waypoint at this corner. I think that's going to be the best result. So this should make the AI fly here and then do a right turn. Uncheck counterclockwise. Now it's going to be a right turn. Okay, so they should take off, turn to the right, fly here, fly here, fly here, fly here again. Probably not the best idea, to be honest. How do I do this? Like this, and then here. Yeah, I guess let's try. I hope the AI can do this pattern with this amount of turn rate. If not, we'll see, and then I have to change it. Not a big problem or anything. So the first waypoint after the pattern is going to be 80%. That's like climb power, I think, ish. It's not that important what I said because I intend to fly as lead, so I can just put whatever throttle I want. I'm going to put 1 drop tank, 100% fuel, and yeah, that's fine. Okay, so altitude, I'm going to go 6,500 because I intend to do Liberators as enemies, which didn't fly that high as B-17s. There's a current issue with the head-on AI. It doesn't properly work at really high altitudes that B-17s used to attack at. So if I put B-17s at like 27,000 feet, then 190s can't do head-on. So right now I'm going to put Liberators who flew lower, and then it should work fine. Welcome back, Marcom. I hope you can hear me. And now the pattern has to be long enough so that the AI can climb to this altitude. Climbing to 6,500 meters doesn't take that long in 190, so 70 kilometers or something like that should work fine. And then I'm just gonna make up some pattern that the 190s should follow. Then once they are here, they can, they are not gonna fly this pattern because somewhere over here there's gonna be the action and they're gonna fly home differently. But anyway, if there weren't any enemies, they would follow this path. And yeah, it's a good idea to have that in working order as well. Okay, so 1,000 meters when they RTB here. And now when I put this waypoint over here and I put a landing waypoint, this is a Zonk feature which makes the game draw the landing pattern. So when I move that around, I can tell which runway the AI is going to use. So if I put it like this, they're gonna descend to this waypoint and then fly to the start of the pattern and then land in this manner. I'm intending to use escorts, so there are going to be a lot of P-47s and whatnot. Usually AI doesn't really survive this kind of mission, so I'm not going to spend a lot of effort in actually testing the landing phase. Not a lot are going to come back. Right, so now I should have a working takeoff pattern, and just to test the rough timings, I'm going to add a B-17 flight. B-24 flight, excuse me. So we're going to use, I think, the J, because I intend the mission to be in like early 44, mid 44-ish. So it can be the J. Also, we're not going to fly the bombers, so it doesn't matter if we use the J with the badly modded interior. It's not that badly modded, but in comparison to the official D model, it's terrible. Okay, so we have our Liberator flight, and I am going to spawn that with a trigger when enemies are within a certain distance. So if I put them over here and I put them on a very long spawn delay, this way they would, in another game version, spawn at 8 p.m. So 8 hours after the mission starts. But I'm going to put a trigger, and that trigger is bring 2D, which means flat in. I didn't do the coding. I mean, this should mean if I put that to like 50 kilometers, then it's going to use the grid, and if anything enters a 50 kilometer radius, then the trigger should activate. So bring 2D and then enemy at least one group within 50,000 meters in 2D space. Then the spawn delay should be removed. Set group to active, okay. Yes. So 50 kilometers. I think I can't really see the grid too well right now. I think this is 100 kilometers. I can check that by creating an object. And if I use snap with 10,000 meters, I can tell, okay, this is 10 kilometers, so this is 100. Right. So if I put this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 snaps over here, the radius is going to be like 50 kilometers. So when we reach this waypoint, these should spawn. So that's not going to make a lot of sense because we are supposed to fly like this, and then if they spawn over here, we're not going to be anywhere close. So when I put them like this, they will spawn when we are on this path somewhere. And if I put them, and if I make the B-24s fly like this, then there should be a rough collision course. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, so I put the liberators at 6,200 meters, sea level again, just to avoid altitude adjustments when they reach waypoints. And the first waypoint is going to be in true airspeed, 400 kilometers an hour. Formation is combat box 1.2. It's usually wise to spread the AI out a bit and reduce sloppiness a bit, because big sloppiness values mean the AI isn't good at formation flying, which when you overdo it usually causes mid-air collisions. So we reduce that, enlarge the formation a bit, enable radio silence, enable don't defend. If I check this box, AI will not pull evasive action while they are in formation, which is very important. If you do a rear attack or whatever on a combat box, you don't want everybody to freak out, but to stay in formation. No evasions actually means that the flight will not take evasive action when shot at by anti-aircraft fire. I don't have to check this right now. It's fine if the lead aircraft does some evasive action while on the way to target. That actually kind of should help survivability, I think. Maybe we have to improve this a bit in the future because it might still be a bit risky, but yeah, we'll see. I'm going to put fuel at 70 because, yeah, we are near Dresden. That's actually a very long mission for Liberator. Yeah, for Liberators maybe not, but it's like east of Berlin, so that's 48th, a very long mission. So yeah, actually like 60% fuel. And I don't think that Liberators would have the range to carry that amount of bombs over here. But it's the only one that I can choose in the J, so here we go. Okay, so now this is just a timing test, more or less, or if this works. So I'm just going to use one Liberator just to have the quickest loading times. So I put a waypoint over here, set it to constant power, 70%. And now I can make the path that the bombers will take how I please. So now we can select a target. I'm going to use this city, because why not? So what we need is waypoints which enable the combat wing formation, which is going to be existing, to split up for the bomb run and then assemble after the target again. So disassembling combat wing formations takes a long time, because one combat box of 20 aircraft has to slow down, and another combat box of 20 aircraft has to slow down even more. But that doesn't matter for the lead combat boxes waypoints, because they're just going to fly the same speed all the time. So 70% it is for this one. But I'm going to put one waypoint in the halfway on the way to the target, because they are going to open their bomb bay doors one waypoint before the target. So this is over here, and if I put that over here, they're going to fly with their bomb bay doors open for like 100 kilometers, and that is not necessary. Okay, so we put the ground attack waypoint somewhere near industry or a marshalling yard or something like that, which apparently doesn't really exist in this city. So that, yeah, this is kind of an industrial area, but yeah, there are not really big factories or anything. So I'm going to put the attack waypoint on some field, and then I'm going to add factories later. But the existence of a target doesn't matter for the waypoints for now. So while testing, they're going to bomb a field. Target is going to be added later. Okay, so since this flight is going to be the lead formation for a very big formation, I'm going to put a very limiting rate of turn. So maximum bank angle 10 degrees means the lead flight can't do tight turns, which is a very good idea if you have 59 aircraft following you. I'm going to increase this a bit after the target, because there they can quickly turn relatively quickly, because it's still a 20 aircraft formation. They can't turn that tight, but tighter than the 60 aircraft formation. So you get what I mean. We make them turn around, and in real life, usually 8th Air Force bombers took the same route back as they took to the target. So now I'm going to put 10 again and just make them fly back around the same route as they came. Okay, so now I put the weather that I'm going to use for the mission, which is hazy because I intend to use graphics extender, and that looks weird in worse conditions. Well, we have 2 viewers and the preview is bugging again, so this is not going as I would like to. So is anybody still there? Is this working? Okay. I guess just nobody is interested in mission making. Should probably shoot stuff again. Okay, so this is working. Takeoff formation And number 1 and number 2 throttle up. And I hope they assemble fine. Fingers crossed. No idea what that guy is doing. Ah, that's not good. Let me figure out who that is and what he's up to. And that's the main problem with Zonk. Every time I test anything, it's broken. Okay. He is following over there. Okay, he seems to be joining, so guess not. Good enough. Did number 1 reach the waypoint properly? Are they... did I set 1 lap, or are they just missing the waypoint because the turn rate is too limited? I can't tell. Yeah, as a rookie, exactly. Okay, that is 1 cycle, so he missed the waypoint, so he keeps cycling because the waypoint never gets reached. So I increase turn rate and see if this helps. Time acceleration. Worked decently enough, I guess. And now, once that 1 waypoint is kind of close, we should trigger the B-24s to spawn. Hopefully. Next waypoint. And Liberators don't show up. Yay. We definitely got within 50,000 meters. So enemy brings at least 1 group of waypoint 0. Set groups state to active. I guess I need to preload the flight for that to work. I hope that's the issue. So let me spawn a flight over here immediately just to check if it's working. So this spawns after 1 minute and then it should activate the trigger and spawn this flight. Mission time is displayed in the bottom left. Now it's 50 seconds, so in 7, 6, 5 it should spawn the other flight. which spawned the liberators. That's good news. Okay, so I can delete this flight again. And just for testing purposes, I put this to 20 aircraft. And adjust the angle so that the two flights should meet. And now we test again. Maybe I should adjust the pattern settings a bit. Have an idea. Assembly right now is set to numerical. So when the AI forms up for the lane takeoff, they might not be in numerical order and then arrive mixed, I don't know how to say that, at the assembly. So when I put it to by arrival, maybe they don't do the maneuver to get behind their leader or something. So maybe like this. Go over here. Yeah, hope for the best. Base size 9. The bigger that is, the easier the pattern is to fly. Okay, let's try again. Yay! Fixed it. There are quite a few new settings, and I usually have to get in, have to remember all of them. But now it should work decently fine. God damn it. Could use more fine-tuning, I guess. Hello. And now does the B-24 flight still spawn? Yes, it does. And do they encounter each other? Okay, they kind of do. Okay, so the engagement would happen even if I don't use set target on the flight. Engagement behavior is odd, I gotta say. Like, some of the flight engaging immediately, not all of them is odd. Target. Okay. But it is working. And that's one of the biggest issues with the head-ons right now. So many attacks just crash into the target. Yeah. Okay. But everything looking decent. Not great, but good enough. Right, so if I go and set target, then the AI should engage sooner. So now what I do is put the 190s on a long spawn delay so that they don't spawn when I test. And I use some 190 or some aircraft, Condor maybe, to trigger the spawn. And now I make the rest of the combat wing. So we make a second flight, which spawns a little bit higher than the lead flight. So that's like 6,450 meters, and true airspeed, same as lead. And also sea level. Combat box, scale a little bit bigger, a little bit less sloppy. Radio silence, don't defend. Oh yeah, I forgot the gunner mood. Standby means they don't move, I think. Lookout means they are scanning slowly, and at the ready means they scan a lot. So this should be on the lookout for everybody. Gunner mood isn't synchronized yet, so they're going to use the same setting they have been using on the first waypoint for the entire mission. So on the lookout for everybody all the time. On the lookout. And now if I create a second waypoint and use set target on the lead flight, I can tell the flight to attach to the lead flight, so follow it with a certain offset. So when I go offset type manual, I can set how that offset is supposed to be. So I have a text document in my IL-2 stuff folder, I think. Where did I put my IL-2 stuff? I don't remember. I have a... Okay. Default, I think. Nope. That is. Okay, so the high group is supposed to be 100 higher. That's the last setting, that's Z, I think. And this means 100 to the 100 behind and 125 to the left. This is not in meters or anything. This is scaled by wingspan. So these are B17 settings, so the formation might look a bit odd, but I can change those later. These are like estimated formation settings. And yeah, let's see how these go anyway. So delay, and add the same trigger. So condition, I think this should spawn when number 1 spawns and not when enemies are close, so that they all spawn together. So bring friendly, at least one group within 1 kilometer, or maybe 2 kilometers, so that, yeah, if there's an escort or whatever flying around that goes like here or here, that shouldn't trigger the spawn. Okay, let's just see how this goes. Set group to active, okay. Preload, 20 aircraft, 60 fuel, bombs. Oh, I forgot to make some US as well. Nice. So US, and test. This one spawns immediately, so everybody should spawn immediately. Yep. And now if the second flight automatically forms up on lead flight, I'm happy. Panzerwolf, not really a lot of new features, but the one I told you about where AI will adjust their takeoff lane positions relative to a player, which I have never tested before, but if this goes well, I can. Okay, what is number 21 doing in the background? Doesn't look like attaching to me. Why is this broken again? This was working last time I checked. God damn it. If this isn't working, I can stop right now. Attach manual. This target. There's not much else I can do. So let's create another waypoint just to check if it's that problem. Boris, what did you say that didn't show up? Yeah. Yes. There might be problems with attaching to aircraft which have just spawned or something. Come on, please work. They don't seem to have attached to me. Those are just by chance flying kinda the same way because they are set to the same engine settings. Pretty sure. So the problem with current Zonk development is that I run into these little issues all the time. And when I now go, Daki, please help me, we can wait for the fix for like 2 weeks. So attach, manual, same settings. Hope that fixes it, I don't know. For everybody wondering, yeah, Panzerwolf has the latest Zonk version, or kind of recent version, so he was able to do a lot of testing. Okay, so I can now remove the delay and the spawn trigger for these and see if they attach properly. Then I'm pretty confident they are not attached right now. So remove the condor, spawn them in the beginning. Yeah, I think I have a very different perspective on the mod since I have been using it for years and went through all the development stages. Okay, so spawn at the beginning, remove, 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 and just please work. Preload isn't necessary if they spawn in the beginning, so we remove that as well, and now fingers crossed. Oh, it works. Okay, so I guess we write a bug report to Darky that attaching doesn't work for aircraft which have been using preloaded trigger spawn. Which is the level that this stuff has gone to. Okay, so all my neat trigger spawning stuff so that the bombers will spawn when I get in range is out the window. We just do it the old way and spawn them way further back. So when the 190s take off, we hope that we reach them kind of, yeah, when they are there. Okay, like this. And now I maybe add a few more waypoints so that they don't go straight forever. So, what do you mean with ambushing? Exactly? Like make them spawn when enemies are close, or not exactly sure what you mean? By the way, the stream is in 1080p, so my actual resolution is 4 times higher. But when I said 4K, the stream lags and stuff. Command and Control is a mod which was originally made for 4.10. There have been newer versions, remakes for later game versions, but I think most command and control objects unfortunately usually aren't working. AI does not always see everything, but they unfortunately behave like a hive mind, so if one of the flight members sees you, everybody can. But you can actually sneak up on bigger flights from 6 o'clock low sometimes. This is not going as well as I would like it to. Oh, I guess we have reached set target already, and now we're going towards the bombers or something? This is not looking like formation flying. Something is going wrong. Marcom's formation flying is better than this. No idea what is going on right now. They should be in default finger 4 formation. And as you can tell, we have not met the enemy. Yeah, lane takeoff doesn't take into account aircraft weight and so on. So apparently taxi is done with a certain amount of power, and certain aircraft like AR-234s with the default engine settings will not really drive, so this is not satisfactory. As always. Unlimited turn rate, whatever. Let's try. That's also stupid. It's going to be a turn like this and then left. Over here, over here, over here, maybe. Ah, that's also stupid. I guess 90 was the best. Could try and remove the waypoint before. Make some takeoff go here immediately. See how that goes. Bigger shape. More room to maneuver. Here we go again. At least this seems to be working very reliably. Didn't have a single crash on taxi yet. Please be smooth. That's looking nice, gotta say. That not so much, but nothing exploded, so we're good for IL-2 standards. I guess it might be a little bit hard to stay in formation with a guy who's going 55%. Come on, guys. And altitude reached. Okay. So they reach altitude like 30 kilometers before the waypoint. So I can move that to the east by like 30 kilometers. 10, 20, 30, like this. Adjust the others. Try again, hope for the best. Might want to add one waypoint over here, which doesn't climb yet, so that the formation doesn't get messed up as much. Increase the power setting a bit, so that everybody doesn't have to go that slow. Yeah, try again. That's so nice. I usually don't watch a lot of live stuff as well. Or neither. Let's report that bug to Darky. Yo. Apparently attaching flights doesn't work when the flights are activated by trigger. Yeah. How do I say this? I was using preloaded flights which get activated by proximity of an enemy flight. Same formation attaching stuff. Same formation attaches fine when spawned without delay or trigger activation. Fingers crossed he feels like working on this. Hopefully. Meanwhile, my assembly process has been going on in the background. Looks decent. Oh. Sea level 1000 is not quite high enough to get a lot of clearance with the ground over here. So that might be an issue. Yeah. I know this game, you know. Yeah. Development has been slow, but eventually we're gonna get there. Like, bombers not attaching when spawned with trigger, it's something that Ducky can fix relatively quickly by now, if he feels like it and has time to it for it. Here we go again. So this attaching thing actually means that this lead aircraft follows the other lead aircraft with a predetermined spacing, so there's no need to synchronize the flights by use of different power settings and altitude settings and a lot of testing. This aircraft just actively follows the lead. Which, by the way, when you think about it, in reality must have been super hard to do, because when you're sitting in this cockpit, how are you supposed to actively follow that guy? Tough line of sight, especially from the pilot. I think, yeah, the pilot can't see that. So probably in reality the altitude spacing must have been smaller or something. I don't know. The positive side of this is, once you have figured out settings that work for takeoffs and assembly, you can copy and paste those everywhere and it's just gonna work. Probably. Most of the times. When Robert isn't there. Markham sober enough, you know. The stars align. That was nice enough until they did that. Anyway. So when lead goes at 60%, at 80% constant power, that might already be too much for number 5 to follow without overheating. He's going 97%. And probably can't really keep up. There he goes back to like 70 whatever sometimes. Probably because overheat. Okay, now they have reached the waypoint where the next waypoint is set target, so they are now in combat mode and they will find the liberators. Simple as that. Alright. So, yeah, engagement will begin. And since they have set target on the lead flights, they should engage the lower combat box. And Jesus Christ, we have updated the gunner behavior. That's why you attack with multiple fighters at a time. Oh boy. Why aren't the gunners firing? Okay, now we already have our cool engagement going on. So now I just need to add more. Okay, so I disable the 190 flight. And I add more liberators. So do you want to know the change that we did to the gunner behavior? It's a bug that we discovered. It's so dumb. When you have your B-24, B-29, whatnot, with turrets that can turn 360 degrees, like this. So in vanilla, it actually is the case that when a an enemy fighter approaches from here, and the top turret, for example, is pointing at him, then he can shoot fine, it's going to work fine, everything's great. But as soon as this fighter changes the hemisphere of the bomber to the other side, now everybody would think that the top turret will just follow like this, right? No, it will not. It turns out that in vanilla, turrets can turn like this. They need to go the other way around, 360 degrees. So whenever you did a head-on, where you originally approached from one hemisphere, and just by coincidence, luck, whatever, you changed to the other one, then you wouldn't get shot at by the gunners because they would all have to turn the turrets like 340 degrees. Yeah, so we fixed that, and all of a sudden, there's way more gunner fire. Yeah. And as far as I know, no other mod fixes that, by the way. Like, properties, 20 aircraft, bombs, 60. Oh yeah, and just because they exist from mission beginning, only AI, because if you don't put only AI and you have 60 B-24s, then the multiplayer lobby is going to have a zillion slots, and usually the game bugs out when there are too many slots, so put only AI. Only leave the ones flyable that you want players to join in. Right, so 5,950, true airspeed 400, combat box 1.2, sloppy 0.8, radio silence, don't defend, one more waypoint, constant power 70, and set target. And now we use the low group offset, so that is 100, 125 minus 100, and that's that. Making a combat wing is as easy as that now, so giant improvement. Okay, now we put plane 1 to veteran, 3 veteran, 5 veteran. That's actually going to lead to more gunner fire than just average. And then we change back to plane 1 and select a skin. And I have like organized these way back in the day, where 2 is the same bomb group as 2A, but that's olive drab. So yeah, in early 44, there were combat boxes with mixed skins, because the surviving aircraft from earlier missions were still olive drab, and the ones that arrived after the order was given to go without painting the aircraft would be silver or aluminum. So if I now put 2, they're all going to be silver, and then I put some 2A, they're going to be mixed. So we use 2 for the first flight or combat box group, 3 for the second, and 4 for the last one. And then I'm going to go to the text editor and apply the skins with that, because it's going to be quicker. So that is normal skill all the time. It's not supposed to be like that. Hold on. Properties, skill custom, plane 1, veteran, average, veteran, okay. Am I too tired and stupid, or? No, that's correct. Ah, it is properly done. 2, 4, and so on aren't listed because that's unnecessary. It's everybody on veteran, and only the ones listed are going to normal. So that's actually a smart way to write this down. Good job, Darky. I was just too tired and stupid. Everything is working fine. Okay, so skin 0 is 2. 1, 2, 3 means 4 aircraft will have the skin 2. And now it's 8, 12, 14, 16, 20. And we just change the numbers. And the entire flight will have the skin. It's actually 1 too many. 20 aircraft means 0 to 19. And now I add the A where I want an olive drab aircraft to still exist. So now we have a nice mix of aluminum and olive drab. And now we do the same with skin 3.bmp for the other flight. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 0 stays the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then we add the A where we want olive drab. And same thing over here. Four, 8, 12, 16, 20. Jesus. The downside of doing this with a text editor is if you do a typo, the entire mission breaks. But this looks fine to me. So A. And now we should have our proper combat wing. Okay, so that is working. This map is called Central Europe. Graphics extender is working fine for me on all maps actually. Canon's channel map. I can just load that up quickly and show you, I guess. That's a very a map with a lot of ground objects, so it takes a while and a lot of textures, but it works. Yeah. I have a video of it actually. So English channel summer 1940. If this now crashed my game or something, it would be so funny. But yeah, the recent quote-unquote Heinkel video I did was on this map, so yeah, it works. Now all I have to do is not overwrite the mission I was working on. So old, test, save, and play. Not a nice mission to make, not a nice map to make missions on because of the load time. But yeah, here it's working. I think that with Zonk being a gunner in a B-17 is way more immersive and looks better than Microprose's version. And the flight models are way more accurate. And we're getting proper B-17 interior, so that's gonna be super nice. Random image of B-17 interior, work in progress. I guess everybody has seen the video, so. But this is showing off the damage model that's actually gonna be featured, which is super good news. I think we're getting a really high quality B-17 interior, which is amazing, in my opinion. Okay, this image doesn't exist anymore. Unfortunate. But he has sent me his Telegram page, so we can see B-17 stuff over there. Rear gunner station, for example. That's the cockpit no section. It's super good news. It's happening. He's also going to do the Lancaster, by the way, eventually. You mean you want the people modeled in the cockpit? I don't know about that, honestly. There are some mod cockpits which have pilots. I don't know. Should be possible. Okay, where was I? I need bomb run waypoints for the other combat boxes, so set everybody to 1 aircraft except the lead flight. I'm gonna set that to 2. Put the player in the second liberator. Put this to 1 as well. And now when I make this waypoint, no, this waypoint, no, this waypoint, a detach waypoint. So detach and then attached all planes. This will detach all other combat boxes that are following once this waypoint is reached. So when I now create a waypoint for this flight over here, and lead flight reaches this waypoint, it detaches this flight to its first waypoint it hasn't completed, which is this one. So lead reaches this waypoint, and the flight that was attached will go over here. So when I put this to 6,450 meters and 70%, they should roughly stay above lead and not really freak out or anything. But we want them to fall behind, so we put them to a lower engine setting and then do their own bomb run somewhere at the same waypoint settings as lead, so they go the same speed and altitude. And once they are done with their bomb run, we simply attach them to lead again with the same settings they had been using before. So with these settings, 100 minus 125, 100. So this actually might immediately work. I'm not exactly sure. And we do the same thing for the other flight. So this flight gets detached once lead flight reaches this waypoint. So we send it over here and then waypoint, and it's supposed to fly slower. And I put that to, I think, 60% as well, because this flight will descend when it goes onto the bomb run, but this flight will have to climb when it goes to the bomb run, so it's going to slow down more and should spread out. Okay, so 6,200, 70%. Ground attack, and after ground attack, attach again. These need to use turn rate as well, or it's going to be a freak out after the bomb run. So turn rate 15. And make sure that lead flight is using 15 as well. Okay, cool. So set target, attach, manual, and now it's the opposite again. So this is high group, this is low group. So it uses these settings, 100, 125 minus 100. And this should make them rejoin all nicely. Minus 100. And now, because I only have 4 aircraft spawning in the mission, the time acceleration to the bomb run can be done very quickly. So now I just enable autopilot and time acceleration, and we can test this within like 2 minutes. Yeah, true, the 111's front gunner is modeled. Yeah. Of course it can be done, but I wonder how well movement can be done in IL-2. Oops. Let me get my joystick so I can use padlock. Okay, so now just time accelerate to this waypoint. First waypoint reached. next. Next. And that's the one we're looking for. So both groups should have detached, so they are now flying on their own, and that is not going as it's supposed to go. Why are we pulling up like that? I guess I forgot to keep the altitude setting at this waypoint or something. 5950. It's actually correct, so what's going on? That is weird. Try with a different altitude setting. And one more try. There are quite a few cool animations in the interiors in the game, so I think hands should be possible, to be honest. Did I remember to put those on sea level as well? Yeah, I did, okay. Didn't remember it for that one. That's one indication. Gonna try 300 meters difference. Five, 9. As a German, that's something I don't understand at all. Why would the light go out when it rains? Huh? Can't tell if they freaked out I didn't watch when they detached, because I'm an idiot. Good night, Boris. Okay. Should probably lower the engine setting for the lead group right after the bomb run, so that everybody else can catch up quicker. No, that's not really correct, Panzerwolf. So we go, let's say 60 for this one waypoint. That should also already improve the time the others need to catch up, so might be fine. One more test, see how the actual detaching goes, and then I think the bomber waypoints should be done. One, two, and that is the detached waypoint. That looks way smoother. Yeah, that's good. That's not gonna cause issues. Yeah, I'm gonna let you know. But, yeah, it's all up to Darky. Can't say anything else. Goodbye. Alright, very good. This is working. So now we disable that. Yeah, I know, I had left my own Discord server as well. It was intended to find people to fly with, but the competency level wasn't sufficient, let's say. I have created a new server which isn't public yet, which is specifically intended to organize missions. We'll see how that goes. Once we are operational again, I'm gonna make it public and announce missions and everything. Right, so set this to 2, plane 2 player, okay. And now I'm going to add escorts. So we look for P47. And we choose some 44 version. Probably for the scenario I'm going for in early 44, it's gonna be more like D22s. One of the P47 versions is broken, by the way. I don't remember which one. Might be this one, of course. Let me save, and if I press plane 1, it might bug out. Didn't, okay. So drop tank. Make it some other flight than the bombers. .356 is a P-51 squadron, I think. Doesn't really matter. They all display numbers and no actual squadron codes or whatever. 334s, okay. That's a might be a Pacific squadron, I don't know. Which is the famous one with the QP. Don't I have darky skins in here? I don't think so. I do have some in here. So D10 would work. Let's go D10, whatever. So that's QPA. And I'm just going to use QPA for all of them. Because nobody's ever going to notice which squadron letter the P-47 has that is shooting at us. Plane 2, player 12. Do the usual mix of skill. Wait. No P-47 D10 could reach here. Gonna need a ton of drop tanks or whatnot. Or actually P-51Bs or... Yeah, I'm gonna worry about skins and stuff later. So we put this flight at a higher altitude. Set them to finger 4 as well. Scale 1.5 round. I think scale gets increased automatically when they attach as escort. So I'm gonna try and keep it at 1. Radio silence. And now when I put a second waypoint, I am able to. I think I need more. Attaching as escort has some conditions now. So I'm going to put them here, here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and there, and there. And now when I attach them as escort, I should be able to define an escort length, which means for how long they will follow the bombers. And when I put that to 5, I think it still displays it here. That would mean they escort them to half the way to this waypoint, I think, so here, which would be long enough for them to still be there when the 190s arrive. When I put them to all the waypoints, they're just gonna always escort, and I guess since there is no Britain to fly back to in this mission, gonna be fine. Okay. So let's take a guess. Offset. I think this is altitude, so 500 above. And 2000 left and in front or something. I don't remember how this works. I have to try it. So we just see where the P-47s will be and adjust the offset accordingly. I'd say nailed it right above. But I think the offset can be a bit bigger, so they don't have to change course so often, so frequently. Okay, so I think this is left and right. If I double that and make them fly further ahead, it should be cooler, smoother. See what this does. I mean, it's gonna be good enough. I do wonder why they are still directly above. They should be ahead or behind when I increase the offset like that. Like at least one coordinate is supposed to be ahead or behind. So when I go 100, this should change something. Okay, this definitely is the left and right offset. Okay. Setting does do something. Jesus Christ, my phone. Hey, some bot from some country. Phone number 039? Which country is that? I don't know. Anyway, where was I? Offset settings for escorts. So gonna go with 4000 again and try what happens when I go minus 4000. I want the escorts, I want one escort group to be in front and one behind. Something like that. Okay, minus 4000 means behind. Should write this down, by the way, so that I don't have to trial and error this setting the next time I do this when I haven't played IL-2 in 6 months. $4,000 and oh yeah, I should not use true airspeed, but constant power. So at 7,000 meters, constant power 80 should actually be more than 450 kilometers an hour in a Thunderbolt, I think. Well, change and see what it does. I wonder if the P-47s are too slow to fly ahead, or if the offset value is not working properly. Or maybe with such a wide left and right offset, it just is a too big distance to get ahead? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. This will work fine. They will be in the proximity of the bombers. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Good evening. And now what I would like to do is have P-47s spawn in over the course of the entire mission, because what's still happening all the time is that when one escort group engages, they're going to fight to the death with whatever they are fighting, and they're never going to be close to the bombers again. So if you want to have escort fighters close to the bombers all the time, you have to create more flights, which I usually timed it so that they would be next to the bombers, but triggers should remove the necessity of doing the timing. So when I create a P-47 flight, like over here, and I put it on preload, or I give it a spawn delay, put it on preload, so that it doesn't cause a spawn lag, and I put triggers, so bring and then a friendly flight within, yeah, let's go with 15 kilometers, so it's not immediately obvious that they spawned in. That's a 0 too much, I guess. Yep. So now when the B-24s are close, this flight should spawn. Activate flight, where is it? Ah, yeah, set group to active, okay. And now we give it the same waypoint settings as the other one. So that's 7,000 and constant power 80, I suppose. And so the bombers will fly this path. When they are here or somewhere, this flight will spawn. And so I make them fly like this and then set target. They will automatically escort the bombers as well. So this guarantees they find them. So I create the same waypoints as I did for the other escort flight. And I use the same escort settings. So what was that? I think 4,000 minus 4,000, 1,000 or something. Okay, 441. And now if I create more flights like this, so let's do the settings first, so I don't have to do those all the time. So 1 veteran and 3 is a veteran, and we select I said I'm going to do skins later, so never mind. But these settings should be fine, only AI. And I'm now going to create more P47 flights. 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to have 16 P47 spawn in later. And I open the mission in a text editor again. And I forgot the escort length, I think. So this one needs to be maximum, and then we save. And now I copy and paste the waypoints from the first P47 flight to the other flights. Correction from the second P47 flight. This one, and this one. And we copy and paste the settings. I messed that up, I can tell. Hold on. P47. Let's do the settings first. And now the waypoints. And once that is done, all the 4 flights that I created should have the same waypoints and settings and be at the exact same spot. So now this is a Zonk feature. When I hold down Alt and click on a flight, I can move the entire path. So this should be the 4th P47 flight. This should be the 3rd, and this is the 2nd. So I can create this P47 flight when the bombers reach over here, for example, just by moving the path like this. And now all I need to do is adjust the path so that it is like kind of close to the actual bomber path. And we are Gucci. So delete this one, move this one over here, do the same. And this should lead to the mission being escorted at least all the way to the target, kinda, because there are going to be P47s spawning in from time to time. If everything works as intended. Alright, so let's check. Triggers. Friendly one group within 15,000 meters of waypoint 0 activate. Okay. That indeed is set for all of them. So this should ensure P-47s being next to the bombers for at least an hour or something. Let's check. So this is only 2 liberators. This group will now spawn in later, so I can time skip to the first P-47s spawning quickly. We are going this path, so this is below 15 kilometers, so this will trigger the P-47s. Let's see. When I press Shift F2, I can now actually toggle through the not yet spawned aircraft. So with that old map thing, which lets you know where you are, like here, I can tell that here an aircraft is going to spawn. So time acceleration. We have reached the first waypoint, and when we pass this position, the P-47s should spawn. And then go and escort the flight. Here they appeared magically. And yep. So after the initial engagement with the 190s, the initial Escort will be busy, and these will spawn in later and still protect the bombers. That is the plan. So if everything is working correctly, there should be 16 P-47s escorting at the end of the mission. Yeah, and making this where the P-47s will properly join the bombers would have been a lot of effort, and with triggers, yeah, trivial. Bam! Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. Alrighty-o. And now if I want 48 P-47s to be there, I just put the flights to a higher number and more aircraft are going to be there. If I want a second combat wing of B-24s, I can simply copy and paste the waypoints, spawn the second wing in a minute later, and it's going to be double the aircraft, so it's working. Anyway, unfortunately, I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning tomorrow, and it's 21:30. So I guess I'll continue making this mission tomorrow or at some point. The upside is I fixed my OBS settings, so I can just start and stream now, and it's gonna work, hopefully. Okay. Right. This is gonna be it for now. Gonna continue this tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.